Greetings, thespians!
Greetings! Hey! Welcome to this episode on blocking and stage direction. We're not going to say a whole lot because there's a compact, we got it full of a bunch of information. So here we go.
Greetings, thespians. On today's video, we are going to look at the stage itself, and how the actor maneuvers around the stage. Now that probably seems fairly straightforward, and in the grand scheme of things it is, but there is some vocabulary and some language that will be helpful to an actor as they begin working on this stage in understanding what the director is telling them and how that translates into action on stage. So let's start sort of big, and then we'll narrow it down. So first of all, let's talk about the word blocking, because that's really the overall term that we're defining today. Blocking in theater very simply means the big stage movements, moving from one part of the stage to another part of the stage, entering, exiting, and crossing. Anytime an actor moves from, say, center stage to stage right, that's a cross. So, what does center stage and stage right mean? Those are our stage directions. We'll talk about those here in just a minute and let you know what all the stage directions are and where those locations are on our stage. Blocking is not the only type of movement we have on stage, although it is usually the very first thing that an actor learns as they begin bringing the play to life on stage, because those movements are the skeleton of the action of the play. We also have what we refer to as stage business, and those are smaller, more fine-tuned movements. Blocking very often is assigned by the director, which way to enter from, where to maneuver on stage, and where to exit. It's also given to us, or cues about it are given to us within the script by the playwright, him or herself. Business, though, is what makes everything look human, if you will, or look realistic. And business can be pretty much anything. Picking up a book and reading it, folding laundry, sitting on a couch, maybe taking a nap. That sounds nice. But anyway, business are those small movements, and sometimes directors and playwrights will include business in their sort of instructions, but very often the actor also brings their own ideas for business, their own ways of approaching the stage business to the rehearsal process. Other types of stage movement that are a little bit more specialized, not used in every instance, are choreography or dance, and stage combat. Stage combat is exactly what it sounds like, fighting on stage. Anytime there is a physical fight on stage, whether it's hand-to-hand or involves a weapon like a sword or any other type of weapon, that is choreographed by a stage combat specialist. Choreography for dance numbers, musical numbers, and so forth are also done by choreographers. So those roles are a little bit more specialized. Sometimes directors have their own experience in those fields and will provide that instruction for the actors, but other times an expert is brought in addition to the director to provide that instruction. Because it's very easy for both with choreography and definitely with stage combat for things to get a little sketchy from a safety standpoint, and of course the safety of the actors is of paramount importance. So let's talk stage directions. This is a really basic, really elemental part of theater that all actors, really everyone in the theater, kind of needs to be on the same page about. And that is the language that we use to indicate what part of the stage we're working on. So, I used a minute ago an example of moving from center stage to stage right. So those are a couple of the directions. We have center stage, which is exactly what it sounds like, the center of the stage. And everything, all of the directions kind of radiate out from that point. And right and left and down and up stage are determined by the actor's perspective when they're facing the audience, which is the position that I am in right now. So right now you are watching this from the audience's perspective, so some things are going to be a little backwards. But trust me, I've got this right. So stage right is the actor's right, and stage left is the actor's left when the actor is facing the audience. So what about when the actor turns around? That's still stage right, that's still stage left. Stage right and stage left never change. Really important distinction to understand. Stage right and stage left always remain the same. So we have downstage, which is closer to the audience, and upstage, which is farther away. Fun fact, there's a reason for that. Once upon a time, lots of years ago, stages were built at an angle. In the 21st century, and really starting a lot longer ago than that, stages were built flat and the audiences were at an angle or raked. But when very, very early theaters were being built, it was the opposite. The audiences were flat surfaces. Even if it was multiple levels, all those levels were flat surfaces, and the stage was raked. So quite literally, when the actor was walking towards the audience, they were walking down. And when they were walking away from the audience, they were walking up. So the name stuck even when the theaters changed. Downstage, stage right, upstage, stage left. Now we of course need to be a little bit more specific than that, because if I need to go over here, I am now down stage right. And actually the stage keeps going, so I'm not even as down stage right as I could be. So we have what we typically look at as a 9-square grid, a 9-point grid that we imagine on our stage that has all of the locations. So we have down right, stage right, up stage right, up center, center, down center, down stage left, and up stage left. Now some even bigger stages will make even more fine distinctions. You'll have down, left, center. Okay, but that's kind of, if you at least know those 4 directions, down, right, up, and left, then when you start putting those directions together, you can figure out where you need to go. Now, that covers where the actor is located on stage. Let's talk a little bit about positioning. Now, the age-old rule that says that an actor should never turn his back to the audience, it's not really realistic. It's not conceivable that an actor would never, under any circumstances, need to turn away from the audience. Sometimes it happens. And sometimes we can turn somewhat away from the audience, but not fully. And to give ourselves some common language so that we can communicate more effectively about where the actor needs to be positioned on stage, we being theater folk, imagine a pinwheel with the actor at the center and his direction, again, beginning from a position of facing the audience. So the position where the actor is fully facing the audience, as I am now, is what we call full front. So I'm fully facing the audience. My full front is directly positioned towards the audience. Now, the pinwheel continues We're gonna break out a little geometry here on you. Don't worry, we'll go slow. So we start with a 45-degree angle, or a quarter. It's a quarter of the way between full front and profile. We'll get to profile in a minute. So we have full front, and then a quarter turn to the right. I turn to, again, the actor's right, towards stage right. We can also do a quarter turn left. All right, we'll keep going in the clockwise direction, going towards stage right first. So we have a quarter turn right, and then we have profile right. Aptly named because when I'm facing this direction, the audience is looking at my profile. Then we have a 3/4 turn to the right, which has me facing somewhat to the audience, but not fully towards the back. That's the next position. From this position, you are looking fully at my back. My back is fully towards the audience. Then the pinwheel continues, and this is a 3/4 turn to the left. So even though I started moving towards the right, now I'm facing towards stage left at a 3/4 turn. Then profile left, because again, you're looking at my profile and I'm facing the left. Then we have a quarter turn left, and back to full front. So those are pretty small distinctions that can make a big difference. Very often in a situation where two people on stage are having a conversation, whereas in real life they may be facing each other fully, on stage we want to make sure we continue to keep the audience connected. And by turning fully profile to face the person that I'm talking to on stage, it almost feels like I'm leaving the audience out. But by opening up to that quarter turn and the other person on stage doing the same, we can look at each other in a way that's more natural and more authentic, like we would in real life, but also open ourselves up so the audience is looking at our faces and the front of our bodies. So there are instances where being fully front or profile or 3/4 turn, where all of these positions are helpful to have. So we don't just stand fully facing the audience all the time. We turn our bodies in a way that make our actions on stage feel more natural, more authentic, and by having that common language of the quarter turns, the profiles, the full front, the full back, it helps us more effectively and efficiently communicate. So when the director tells me to turn to a left profile, I very quickly know that this is where he wants me to be. Now, our stage right, stage left, downstage, and upstage directions are very easy to apply on a proscenium stage. A proscenium stage is any stage where the audience is all on one side. So viewing this video, you are essentially viewing it from the perspective of the audience looking at a proscenium stage. But there are other types of stages, and it's important to understand how those directions are communicated on different types of stage. So another type of stage besides proscenium is a thrust stage. Thrust stage is a type of stage that has audience on 3 sides of the acting area. Because downstage is defined as closer to the audience is on 3 sides, and so it can be a little confusing to know which direction truly is downstage, because the audience is almost completely surrounding you. But by definition, upstage is away from the audience, and a thrust stage has an area away from the audience. So really, downstage is very simply just the opposite of upstage. So when you're working on a thrust stage, just determining the area that is farthest away from the audience kind of gives you an opposite to act as your downstage area. The other type of stage we have is an arena stage. And this is in a theater in the round. And that is exactly what it sounds like. Theater with audience all the way around. Okay, a lot of these stages are still square or rectangular in shape. And so you have audience on all 4 sides of the stage. And in that case, downstage and upstage and stage right and stage left really don't apply because you don't have that perspective of the actor facing the audience or how close or far they are from the audience, because no matter where you are, there's audience in front of you and beside you and behind you. In those cases, we actually use a clock. Instead of using the degrees, like we did the full front, profile, and back, and so forth, we use a clock. And rather than stage right, stage left, we might say you go to 3 o'clock. Imagining this is an arena stage, and this is 12 o'clock where I'm facing, that would just need to be determined and everybody understand the position of 12 o'clock. Then 3 o'clock is here. 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and back to 12 o'clock. And then the distinctions in between. 1, 2, 3, and so forth all the way around.
Good.
Pat?
Good.
Cute.
Okay, so now you're ready to move on stage. When your director tells you to cross stage left, you know what that means.
Exit stage left even.
Pursued by a bear.
Yeah.